welcome to Askimo TV. We're talking to Solicitor and Family Mediator Austin Chessell. Hi Austin, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Morning, Joanne.
Hi. Austin, we've spoken in previous interviews about filing for divorce, but there's so many questions. Let's continue to discuss it and some questions that people may need to find out about. So how long do you have to be married for before you can file for a divorce?
Okay, you need to be married for 1 year before you can file for divorce.
How can I get my filing fee back if I change my mind and no longer want the divorce?
Okay, for the divorce, there's 2 court fees you would need to pay. There would be $340 at the start and $45 at the end. But once you've paid the fee, you wouldn't be reimbursed it. But it may be if you pay the first fee, decide not to continue with the process, you just wouldn't pay the second court fee.
Where do I file for divorce? Is it the state that we got married in or the state that we live in now?
I mean, parties generally tend to file at the local courts where they live, but sometimes when the parties have separated, you're going to be in different parts of the country. So if there are children involved, you tend to file at the courts where the child is closest to residing.
How do I file for divorce if my spouse is missing?
If your spouse is missing, you would normally make attempts to trace the spouse by contacting friends or relatives to see if you could locate the spouse. If you can't, it may be that you have to wait for a period of 2 years and then you can apply that you've been deserted by a spouse and you can obtain a divorce that way.
How do I file? Do I need a marriage license to file for divorce?
Yes, one of the papers required by the court is the original marriage certificate. If you were married abroad, you would arrange for a translation of the certificate which would accompany the original marriage certificate.
What happens if my marriage certificate is missing and I can't locate it?
Okay, if you can't locate it, you would contact your local registry and they should be able to issue you with another copy of your marriage certificate.
Which date do we use for filing for divorce if we had 2 wedding ceremonies?
Yes, couples can have more than 1 wedding ceremony, but you tend to only get the 1 marriage certificate, so you would just use the dates that the marriage took place, which is detailed on the marriage certificate.
Can I file an uncontested divorce if there's nothing to divide?
An uncontested divorce is possible whether there are assets or they're not assets. If you're being separated for 2 years, you can obtain the other party's consent. That could work as an uncontested divorce, or if you're being separated for 5 years, you could apply on that basis and you wouldn't need the other party's consent. So whether you do or do not have assets, you can have an uncontested divorce if the other party in the 2-year scenario agrees, or the 5-year scenario you don't need that consent. But what you may want to do is have a financial agreement prepared anyway, even if there are no assets, to say that there's going to be a clean break.
How can I find out if my lawyer filed the divorce papers?
Okay, I mean, your lawyer should normally update you anyway, just to notify you that the papers have gone off to court. Alternatively, you can telephone the court, speak to the divorce section, and if you give them your details, they can check for you to let you know if the papers have been received.
And just to finish off, what happens if I file for divorce but my spouse won't sign?
If your spouse won't sign, you can still get divorced, but it means that there may be an extra step in the process. You could hire a process server who could serve the papers on your former partner, and then you would apply to court to explain to the judge that the other party has received the papers but is refusing to sign the papers, and then the divorce would continue as normal.
Thank you. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you.